So good morning or good night, depending on where you are, and welcome to the final video of the year, the top 5 albums of the year. So in this video, we're gonna have Señorita Sabrosura's 5 favorite albums of the year and my top 5. So if you've been following my top 25, we know that this is the top 5 of mine. So first of all, Señorita, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good. I see you're into the Christmas spirits and
Yes.
Halloween as well with the stuff.
Well, we never took this out. We put this for Halloween, and this is a painting I made, and I was gonna take it out, and my husband said, "No, leave it. Like it
Leave
looks
it.
cool." Yeah.
It
Okay.
looks cool. So when you're seeing this video, I'll be in Puerto Rico with Mr. Cokie Frog right here. So first of all, what a great year it has been for the channel. Like for music, I want to thank first of all Señorita Sabrosura because she's been I think besides me on this channel, you've seen her the most as when we started collaborating. So thank you, Señorita, for a great year of great
Yeah.
videos.
Thank you for inviting me. I have fun.
Yes, and thank you all that have watched. So without further ado, we're gonna go into our favorite 5 albums. So we're gonna start with Señorita Sabrosura. So what was your number 5 album?
Okay, my top five. Um, I wasn't gonna put it, but this album like blew my mind. It's by the legendary Pink Dots, and it's called The Museum of Human Happiness.
And
Uh,
here we have it.
yes, of course, this album ruminates on loneliness in the wake of the pandemic. Like the legendary Pink Dots were on tour celebrating their 40th anniversary tour, when the pandemic hit, and then they got stuck, and they were like nearly near a place that it was like a hotbed for the virus. So this album, like you can see uh and a change in them on the tempo. It feels very modern, and normally like they are very noisy. It's like very weird band, but in this album it's more like upbeat, and it has like industrial influences, and it's has very emotional lyrics of isolation, desperation. Like we can all identify what happened with the pandemic. It also have like very catchy melodies, and I like the production because it feels very raw but very organic. And if you never haven't listened to the legendary Pink Dogs, they're not like very mainstream, but I think this is a good place to start with this album.
Nice. I've never heard of them until you said that you're going on a concert. So I haven't listened to the album, but it has a great cover.
Yeah,
So
and then my favorite song is "This Is the Museum." And
awesome.
also, it has another song that I really like. It calls Hands, Face, Space. Like, as soon as you hear that, it's like, okay, they're talking about the pandemic.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, cool stuff. So my number 5 album is Cave In with Heavy Pendulum. And Cave In, when they released this album, they hadn't released a full length in a long time. Their original bassist tragically died in an accident, and
Oh,
they did in 2019 they did like a small EP called Final Transmission. It was that the last recordings they had done with them, but this is their first full length in a long time. It's an hour and 15 minutes of music. It's space rock, sludge, a great album by Cave In. And if you haven't listened to it, I would say that you need to. My favorite songs are New Reality, Blinded by a Blaze, and Wavering Angel, that ends the album. It's a 12-minute closer. It's a very great, and it's you can see the cover here. The cover is so awesome with the planet, like just an amazing rock album and great heavy guitars, great production. Like Caving is Stephen Brody, Brodsky, and he plays in other bands, and it was just such a great comeback album for the band. So please, everyone, check out Heavy Pendulum by Caving, my number 5.
Well, my number 3, it's the debut album of the band, The Smile, and it's called Alive for Attracting Attention. That's the band with Tom York and Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, and the drummer from a jazz band, I don't remember the name right now, Tom Skinner. And that album also features strings by the London Contemporary Orchestra and a full brass section of the contemporary UK jazz players. And what I like about this album, this side project, it's that it emerged as a way for them to relax, to chill during the pandemic, and they wanted like something without the pressure of being Radiohead. And you can feel that because it feels like very chill. It's still like you can still hear some Radiohead there, but it feels well balanced, and it has that contemporary classical music influences, those minimalist piano motifs. It has like very complex King Crimson guitar, the jazzy brass arrangement. It has some elements that it remind me of David Bowie Black Star, and of course, he has a great producer, Nigel Godrich, that he has worked with Radiohead. But you can feel like I think they want to like something smaller without that pressure of being this big band with festivals. Like they're playing like small venues, and it's a great album.
Yeah, it sounds great. I didn't know Tom York had another band, so that's really awesome.
Yes,
So
by
what
the
are
time
you?
we seen this video, I already seen them. I'll be seen them on December 1st
Nice,
in a
awesome.
very small theater, so it's gonna be cool.
Yeah,
And I really like the song Panavision, the same, the smoke, and open the floodgates. That's a really good song.
awesome. Yeah, and I like the cover too. So yeah, cool stuff
Cool
to get
covers
into.
on
Yeah.
our top five.
So my number 4, it's a band that I discovered this year, and when I listened to the album, the name of the band, I was like, "That's a weird name." They're called Cold Night for Alligators, and the album's the Hindsight Notes, and they're like a metal digenti alternative band from Copenhagen, Denmark. And oh my god, the lead singer on this band, he sounds like I would compare him to like what if Sting sang in a more alternative metal band. You would get the sound of Cold Night for Alligators. And this is a great album. The cover, when you see the cover, is pretty simplistic with the colors. But I actually interviewed their guitar player when this album a few months ago, and super great, super awesome. And he told me how they picked the album cover and explained that they
Yes.
wanted it to be simple and not people like taking away like taking away so much from the car, but actually listening to the music. And I'm telling you, you would like this band because the singing, you can tell. And I would recommend the songs Behind the Curtains. Oh my god, that the album opener, just such a great song, beautiful voice by the lead singer. And also the songs Water and No Connection. I would say listen to those three, but the whole album is great. And it's a surprise. It's a band that I didn't know. And guess what? In the top 5 at my number 4, Cold Night for Alligators, the Hindsight Notes. Do not sleep on this album. Great stuff.
That's good when you discover a new band.
Yeah.
Well, my number what 3?
Your number 3.
Now, my number three is one of my favorite bands, indie rock bands, Deca for Cutie, Asphalt Meadows. Um,
And
I'm
here we
waiting to
have the
receive
cover with the
the.
nuns.
Yeah, it's a
I
great
thought that
cover
was gonna be
too.
your number one for some reason.
Oh, it's because I wasn't sure like between one, two, and three. Like they're all interchangeable.
It's
Uh,
hard.
but I really like this album. I had it on repeat every week. It feels like very modern, but very Deca for Cutie. Like they push themselves to do something new, but without losing their essence. And I think that's very important after 10 albums and 25 years of making music. Like they still feel relevant and they still know how to do new things, but without losing their sound. They sound like more mature, but it's the cat. It has like very indie rock, alternative, even new wave influences. And we reviewed this album.
We did.
Like we couldn't choose like one song, three songs because all the songs are really good. Like I love Roman Candles, Here to Forever. I don't know how I survive. I'll never give up on you. Even Randy McNally. That we don't know who is Randy, but it's a really great song.
Yeah, it's a great song, and it's a simplistic album cover. It doesn't even say "Death Cab for Cutie" anywhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
I like it. It feels different.
I actually listened to this one and I enjoyed it as well, and we reviewed it.
Mm.
So my number three is a band that I discovered a few years ago, and I actually saw them live because they opened for Coheed and Cambria on a tour that I saw. They're from Boston and they're called Astronoid. And the album's called Radiant Bloom. And this is I have it, I have it backwards. This is an album that I did a review for the album. I would describe it, it's very dreamlike, the music. It's it's progressive, but the voice of the lead singer is more nasally, like and not there's no heavy growling on this. It's just like it's like being in a dream listening to them. And Radiant Bloom, it's the band's third album, and they're just a great band and they're doing great stuff. Sadly, I wanted to interview them, but it didn't go through.
Uh,
But it would have been great. And here, the songs that I would say you should listen to is Eyes, Sedative, and I would go with Drown or Human because they're also good. So if you like progressive rock with some djent and some like not screaming vocals, like very ethereal vocals, do not sleep on this great album by Astronoid.
yeah,
Number
you
three.
sent it to me and I like it.
Yeah, really good band.
Yes. Well, for my number two, it's another favorite band. And after 9 years without making an album, they released Never Let Me Go, Placebo. And I actually saw them on summer, and I'm gonna see them again on April of next year.
Yes, I remember. I sent you like, hey, they're gonna be playing in Chicago, and yeah,
Yes,
great album as
but
well.
they took forever because they announced they were gonna play on Chicago, but they took forever to pick up a venue. And I think they picked the perfect venue because it's a small new venue, so it's very gonna be very personal, very cozy. Uh, And what I like about this album is that it feels relevant. Like the legendary Pendulum, it came with the pandemic, but the creative process was very different for Placebo. So it feels like dark and paranoid, euphoric, but at the same time, like a little hope there and very personal, even political at times, futuristic. but for me, they managed to mix like melancholy and excitement at the same time. And one thing that we talk like the new Smashing Pumpkins, like they overabuse the sings. Here, Placebo use sings, but they use it smart. Like
Yeah, it doesn't overpower the sound of the
yeah,
band.
like the synths and electronic music is here, but they also kept their alternative placebo sound from their early work. I don't know, I have it on repeat, and I didn't know how it's gonna sound live because it's very different from other albums from them, but live it played well, really great, and people were singing along to the band. And I really love Beautiful James, Happy Birthday in the Sky, The Prodigal. Try Better Next Time is one of my favorites. Even the closer, it has a great closer, Fix Yourself.
Yeah, we actually reviewed that album, and I have that one on vinyl as well.
Yeah,
And
because
it is a great album. And
yeah,
this is there's a song that I love. This is this is what you wanted. I love that song.
yes, that's a great song.
It's a great song, a great album. So Placebo, we have a lot of like great like return forms, like in bands like KB and Placebo that hadn't released long albums in a long time. So a lot
Yes.
of comeback albums this year. So my number two, it's kind of a newer band. They've been around for a while, but I've gotten into them more. I discovered them in 2019 when the Metal Tris, a YouTuber that I follow, actually did an album review, and they're named Rolo Tomassi, and they're from the UK. And this album, Where Myth Becomes Memory, it's great. Their lead singer, I don't know her name right now, it escapes my mind, but she can go from ethereal, beautiful vocals to being possessed by a demon. Like it's that potent. And they use electronics in this album, but again sparingly and making it great. But it's I don't know how to catalog them. When I did my album review, I said they're avant-garde because they mix a lot of different things. But the album is such great. I would recommend the song Mutual Ruin. I think Drip is great. And I'm trying to remember another one. I think Almost Always starts the album more like softly, but such a great album, such a great band. Like I think this is a band that they keep improving on each release. So this is a band to watch. So Rolo Tomassi, my number two with Where Myth Becomes Memory.
And a great cover too.
Oh yeah, great cover. And when you listen to Rolo Tomassi, I remember having it on the turntable, and then there's the part where it's like beautiful, and then when it turned like really loud, I was told like, can you shut that off in my home? I'm like, oh my god, that sounds horrible. Yeah, so not for everyone, but yeah, I think they're a great band, and a band that it's just putting out great new music. So there's newer bands that are putting out great stuff, so that's why it's my number two.
Well, my number one, I picked this as number one because this is the one that I have on repeat. And after seeing her live performing this album, like, wow, she stole my heart like more. This is a great album. It's a very well produced and worked, and like you can feel how much love it was put on this album. I think it expanded and elevated her sound, the sound of the band. Very expressive songs, and for me, it was like a reclamation, not only on the dance floor with Dance Fever, with songs like My Love, but it was like a reclamation on self love too. And even if you're not a woman, you can enjoy this album. Like it has a
I did.
Yeah, it's a great album. I think it's a gift for everyone. And I remember like when we were seeing her like live, like she was like floating, dancing, and everybody, men, women, straight, gay, like they were like screaming and dancing and enjoying.
Non-binary, everyone.
Yeah,
I know, yeah.
everyone.
She's like a modern. When I listen to her and I see her performing, she's like a modern Stevie Nicks.
Yes, yes, and you can feel the influence of Stevie Nicks here, like a little like she has that goth style. And what I like also about the album is like it asks serious questions, but it feels joyous at the same time. And I I couldn't pick like one song from this album, like uh, King, Free, My Love, uh, uh, Heaven is Here, uh, Dream Girl Evil with that Rolling Stone sound. Like it's a great album.
I remember when we reviewed it and we were talking about the concept of the dance fever, that it was in
The
when the times when
Caribbean,
people danced until they died. And I remember my favorite song out of that album was The Bomb.
the bomb. Yeah, it's a great
Yeah,
song.
that was my favorite song about the album. And when I reviewed that album, I stepped out of my comfort zone because
Yeah,
Florence and the Machine is not something that I usually listen to. But I'm glad you made me listen to and review it because it is a great album, you know. And I think it's an album that people that like everyone can enjoy it. You don't have to listen to, like, you could be a metalhead and you can still appreciate great songwriting that
yeah,
album
it
has.
has great songwriting, great music, and like you said, it has Stevie Nicks influence, it has Rolling Stone influences, even Elvis influences. Like everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great number one. So yeah. So now we're getting into my number one, and the Cokie Frog is excited. Yes.
We're
Yes.
excited to see your number
So
one.
my number one album. So my criteria for a number one when I'm doing this list, because people say like, oh, it's easy. No, it's not easy because
No, it's not.
you when I'm thinking of a number one, it first of all, it has to be memorable songs. They have to have a replay value,
Yeah.
like, and like those type of songs that just, oh my god, so iconic. And there's a band, this band that is my number one. It's a band that that their first album was in 2010, and they've been steadily rising, and right now they're one of the biggest metal or rock bands, whatever you want to call them. And it's the band Ghost with Impera or Impera. This album is just an amazing record from finish to start. Like, musically, what Ghosts do in the metal and rock world is they take pop sensibilities and they mix them into the rock, and it sounds so great. And the lead singer, at first they were a mystery because they were hooded and masked, and
Mhm.
the lead singer, he was different, like a Papa Emeritus, then he was like a cardinal, but then
Yeah.
the lead singer, we knew who he was. His name is Tobias Forge, and this guy, he's Ghost. I think they keep changing the other people that play in the band. We don't know. There's even, I think, a rumor that Dave Grohl played a show with them,
What?
or has played. Yeah, there's a rumor. We don't know because they wear masks, so we wouldn't know. But he's a fan of the band.
Uh-huh.
And in this album, when they came out, a lot of people said that they were like a ripoff of the Cult, in that type of like
Mhm.
type of rock that they play. And obviously they had in the first a lot of like satanic imagery, but they were making fun of because they were saying that they sounded, say, they looked evil, their image, but they sounded like Scooby-Doo. like 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 but I think they're missing the point because this band is outselling a lot of bands. And they're great musically. Like this guitar solos on this album are great. It's very reminiscent of the heyday of metal in the 80s and the
Okay.
70s. This is what they do. They've gotten better at adding like proggier elements into the songs. Like
I know I saw them. They were like in Jimmy Fallon or something
mhm.
like that. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm like you would like this band because they have that retro sound. Like for example, Kaiserion starts with the lead singer going Kaiser. He's like doing a well, like real like anthemic and like real upbeat. And Spillways, you have like that keyboard that the that starts the song, and I'm like wow. And the album when it starts with Imperium, it's like a they do instrumental so well. And the Imperium, when they do that intro in the last song, Respite of the Spitalfields, they end with that intro, the album. So it's like a loop.
Full circle.
I'm telling you, they're Tobias Forge is a fucking genius. Like I know a lot of people that like this. Like for example, Ramon Ortiz from Puya praises this album too, because like it's like when someone like him as a guitar player says that the guitar tone and what they're doing here is amazing, I'm like, yeah, you know more than me. Like I'll take your word from it. And
Yes.
the 20s was like it was like one of the more cornier songs on the album. And I remember when I listened to the first track, it sounded like Candy Shop from 50 Cent to me. I'm like, that's weird, but it stays in your mind. And to me, picking a favorite song here is so hard because I like them all. Like Watcher in the Sky, that's a song that's more progressive and it takes its time. And then you have like a power ballad like Darkness at the Heart of My Love. And it's like every song is great. Like they're great at doing like those songs that stay in your head. For example, the song Griefwood, the first initial solo sounds like even like a little bit of Van Halen. So it's
They have
they
different
take
influences.
yeah, they take all those influences. And this is maybe more they've gotten like less, they still have that like satanic imagery, but they tone it down. Because if you listen to their first albums, there's like songs like called Satan's there's the Monstrous Clog in the second album, there's Satan's Prayer. So they like tone it down, but I think they've gotten better in like because at the beginning of the albums they sounded like a ripoff of the Cult, but they gotten better in incorporating different elements, especially prog with classic 80s. And I'm just telling you, this is the album that I listened to the most all year. And if if you're apprehensive because of their sound, just this is just great
Give it a
songwriting all around.
try.
And they even won they won awards because they totally deserve it. And I've seen them live, and I'm telling you, the show that they put on, it's something that is missing, because like you could be a great technical band and do great stuff, but you can be so fucking boring live. And it's this guy, they know how to make great songs, and that's why, hands down, this is my number one of the album
Number one.
of the year.
Yeah.
All hail Ghost. So people, those are our favorite albums of the year. 2022 was a great year for music. I think something that happened this year with the music is, since we were all like the pandemic, everyone was like no touring. I think it inspired artists to produce great music and with thought-provoking lyrics. And that's why I think this year we've gotten so many great releases. Like, at least for me, I think this year has been. It was hard to pick a top five because I'm like, there's so many great albums out there. And we would want to know from you guys, like, what are your top five albums of the year? Comment, what did you think about our picks? Do you think that they're good picks, or do you think we suck? And again, we want to thank you all for making this channel so successful this year. And of course, I Maddie, again, you know, we like you've been great to collaborate with, and you're part of this channel.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for inviting me. It's been fun. So I hope next year we have more fun, more collaborations.
yes, next year it'll be the same shield dude, different couch from Puerto Rico. So next year we'll have more album reviews, more collaborations again, and you know, like we will keep doing this. So again, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next year. So happy New Year. We'll see you in 2023. So until next time, this is Hector, the shield on a couch.
Señorita Sabrosura.
And we'll see you next year on a
Next year.
different couch.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you and good night.